Welcome to the Checkout Point, your quick dive into this week's e-commerce buzz with me, Alex, powered by Blicket. These 20 minutes pack the latest trends, news, and insights. Let's navigate the digital marketplace together. Ready? Let's go!
Hey folks, welcome back to The Checkout Point by Blicket.co. I'm Max, here with my trusty mug of coffee, ready to dive into this week's e-commerce buzz.
And I'm Rachel, so glad you're joining us. We're on week 11, gearing up with all the latest trends and news that you need to know about in the e-commerce world.
Exactly, and speaking of gearing up, we're just 1 week away from St. Patrick's Day. Rachel, are you doing anything special for the holiday?
Oh, just planning to sprinkle some green all around, figuratively and literally. It's also a perfect time for our listeners to prep their e-commerce stores for the holiday rush, don't you think?
Totally. In fact, we'll be diving into some practical tips later in the show. But first,
Yes, first up, we're super excited about this new blog post we just launched on our site, how high-quality product photos skyrocket conversion rates in e-commerce. Honestly, the results can be pretty magical.
I can't wait to discuss that. Those visuals really do captivate customers. We've got some awesome tips coming your way based on that piece.
And then we've got a segment about Amazon's latest magic wand for shopping. This one's quite the game changer. Plus, eBay's making waves with its philanthropic efforts.
Oh, and you won't believe what's happening with Amazon policies. But you'll have to stick around to find out.
Later on, we'll also explore huge movements across big names like Ross, Costco, and even Wendy's. Seems like everyone is stepping up their game in the retail world.
And don't forget, we're diving into the magical world of digital marketing. Those AI tools are doing wonders for ads and social engagement. It's like having a marketing wizard at your fingertips.
So much to cover today. And, we'll also touch on how platforms like Etsy and eBay are shaping up the e-commerce scene, especially with big selling moments like St. Patrick's Day.
Plus, we're taking a peek at some eco-friendly e-commerce strategies. Ever heard of virtual try-on technology? Game changer.
Definitely, Max. It's all about staying ahead and innovative, which is just what we'll help you do today. So folks, buckle up. Grab your favorite beverage, right, Max?
You got it, Rachel. Let's get this show on the road. I'm already on my third cup, and I'm raring to go.
All right, let the insights begin.
Hey, Rachel. You know how we're always geeking out over how the smallest details can make a huge impact in e-commerce?
Oh, absolutely, Max. It's the little things that can really skyrocket a store's success. Speaking of which, I think our latest blog post dives deep into one of those small yet mighty details, product photos.
Right, that post on how high-quality product photos skyrocket conversion rates in e-commerce. I mean, the image that stops you in your tracks? That's what every online store owner is dreaming of.
Exactly, and it's all about grabbing attention. Think about it. When you're scrolling through an online store, especially around busier seasons, hey, like the upcoming St. Patrick's Day, what really makes you click on a product?
You're hitting the nail on the head. It's that one standout photo, isn't it? We touched on that in the blog, how high-quality images aren't just nice to have. They're vital. They speak volumes about the quality of the product itself.
That's right, Max. And our blog post explains how these images not only attract attention, but also build trust. There's this psychological element, right? When you see a crisp, clear, beautifully lit photo, it suggests that the retailer is just as meticulous about their product and customer satisfaction.
Spot on. And for all the e-commerce store owners listening, think about the last time you updated your product images. Our blog discusses techniques and tips to actually capture those stop-in-your-digital tracks photos. Especially with St. Patrick's Day around the corner, imagine the impact of themed product visuals that just pop.
Oh, absolutely. Themed visuals for holidays like St. Patrick's can be such a game changer. And let's not forget another key point from the blog, consistency. Keeping that quality consistent across all product photos makes navigating the store so much smoother and a lot more appealing.
You're so right. It's not just about one great photo, but the overall visual story you're telling. So folks, if you haven't yet, you should definitely swing by our blog to check out the full post. There's even a section on the technical side, like recommended camera settings and lighting tips, to help you nail those perfect product shots.
I think they will find it super helpful, especially those of you gearing up for the upcoming holiday sales spikes. It's prime time to get those visuals in top shape.
Couldn't agree more. Whether it's St. Patrick's Day or any other big shopping day, those visuals are your frontline. All right, make sure to visit blicket.co and let us dive deeper with you on elevating those conversion rates with stunning product photography. Okay, so I've got something super cool to kick things off today. Amazon is literally handing out magic wands to brands with their new tool that helps guide shoppers right to the products they need.
Wait, seriously? Magic wands? Are we talking about shopping or a Harry Potter movie here?
Right? It's not actual magic, of course, but it's almost like that. This tool allows brands on Amazon to create customized buying guides. It's like having a personal shopper in your pocket.
That's such a good point, and honestly kind of a game changer for online shopping. I'm always overwhelmed by choices when I shop online. Do you think it'll make a difference?
Totally. Imagine you're looking for a new camera, and instead of sifting through thousands of listings, you just answer a few questions and bam! The perfect camera for your needs pops up.
Speaking of making things easier, this reminds me eBay isn't far behind. They've got this promotion where they encourage sellers to list trading cards, probably because they know how hot they are right now.
Oh, I just have to jump in here. Did you hear about the $192 million eBay's charity program raised through sellers? That just blows my mind.
No way, that's incredible. It's like every time you list something, you could be helping out a charity.
Exactly. Now, switching gears a bit, there's been a bit of a stir with Amazon again. Seems like a weekly thing, huh? They've decided to push back on their FBA reimbursement policy.
I saw that. I'm not entirely convinced it's for the best, though. Delaying might just be adding confusion for sellers who rely on FBA. But here's what I'm wondering. Will this affect how sellers manage their inventories, especially with something like St. Patrick's Day around the corner?
Ah, great tie-in. With St. Patty's Day coming up, sellers need all the clarity they can get. It's crucial for planning those theme promotions or special deals.
Absolutely. And speaking of planning, Amazon sellers should really keep an eye on their 3P service providers. There's this advisory going around recommending they check the status of these providers to stay on top of their game.
Smart move. It's all about staying informed. I mean, you wouldn't want to go into one of the biggest selling holidays of the spring, like St. Patrick's Day, with your main tools out of order.
Definitely not. It's the perfect time to double-check everything. Kind of like making sure your green outfit is ready so you don't get pinched.
Definitely. And whether it's ensuring your service providers are up to snuff or using Amazon's new magic wand to boost sales, it's all about making the shopping experience better.
Couldn't agree more. And for anyone listening, whether you're a shopper or a seller, these updates are key to keeping up with the fast pace of e-commerce. Stay tuned, stay informed, and maybe even make a difference through platforms like eBay's charity program.
Exactly, Rachel. Engaging with these platforms isn't just about buying and selling. It's about making an impact, playing smart, and sometimes a little bit of magic. So, Shopify has been on a real tear lately, right? I mean, they just posted some super strong results for Q4.
Absolutely, Max. It's like every time I check, Shopify is reaching new heights. What's the secret sauce here?
Well, here's the deal. Analysts are super bullish about Shopify right now. They're seeing it not just as a tool for small shops, but as a major player in the whole e-commerce boom. Imagine, Rachel, it's like being the David that turned into Goliath.
Oh, I love that analogy. But with big growth comes big responsibility, right? So how are they managing all this expansion?
Great question. So, Shopify is actually offering something called Shopify Capital, which is pretty interesting. It helps businesses grow by providing them with funding. Think of it as your rich uncle who believes in your lemonade stand so much that he gives you a little extra cash to get more lemons and cups.
That's a handy uncle to have. Speaking of which, remember Polar Monkeys, the brand that jumped on this? They've reportedly seen massive growth thanks to Shopify Capital.
Exactly. And then there's the global aspect. Shopify is not just big in Canada or the US. It's making waves internationally. It's like being voted the prom king of e-commerce on a global stage.
And speaking of globally, it reminds me of Temu. Have you seen their pricing strategy?
Oh, do tell. Is it a game changer?
Well, it's all about competitive pricing. These Temu sellers are using strategies to offer some of the lowest prices out there. It's like walking into a store where everything's on sale every day.
That sounds super enticing. But I'm partly wondering how sustainable that is long term, you know?
I'm not entirely convinced either. It's like low prices are great and all, but at what point do you start sacrificing quality or service?
Exactly. Oh, and you know what? Speaking of maximizing sales, St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner. Got any tips for the e-commerce folks gearing up for that?
Oh, totally. If you're selling anything green or even remotely Irish, now's your time to shine. Maybe run a promotion or feature special St. Patrick's themed products.
That reminds me, last year I bought this hilarious t-shirt that said, "I'm not Irish, but kiss me anyway," from an online store prepping for St. Patty's Day. It was a hit at the party.
I remember that. And it's a great example for our listeners. Seasonal events like these are golden opportunities for businesses, especially if you're creative with your marketing like Max's t-shirt shop.
Totally. Plus, it's all about tapping into what people are excited about. Make shopping a part of the celebration and you've got yourself a recipe for success.
Agreed. But of course, while being mindful of not just going for quick wins, building trust in a brand people return to is the name of the game.
Right on, Rachel. Well, whether it's leveraging global tools like Shopify or getting festive for St. Patrick's Day, it's clear there's a lot going on in the e-commerce space.
Absolutely, and it's only going to get more interesting. Can't wait to see what comes next.
So, Rachel, big news in the retail sector. Ross is going all out, opening 19 new stores and planning for a whopping 90 in 2025. That's like the birthday party everyone wants an invite to.
Exactly. The retail expansion is super interesting, Max. But you know what I find curious? While Ross is expanding, Costco's latest earnings gave us a bit of a mix. Disappointing profits, but strong revenue and comp sales. It's like the cake looked great, but didn't taste as good as expected.
Right? It's kind of a head scratcher. But shifting gears a bit, Gap. They've been throwing quite the comeback party, huh?
Absolutely. Their fourth quarter showed no signs of slowing down. It's like they found the secret sauce to retail success again. Maybe it's their vibes or just some retail magic.
Oh, and talking about expansion, Wendy's is not just dipping their fries in ketchup, they're planning to dip their brand into 1,000 new locations by 2028.
It's a burger bonanza. But here's what I'm wondering, Max. With everyone focusing on physical stores, what about the e-commerce side? Especially with St. Patrick's Day around the corner. I remember last year I got this super cute green scarf online just in time.
Oh, totally. And, for e-commerce owners, it's a golden opportunity, like stocking up on themed products or even using green, eco-friendly packaging could be a hit.
Smart move. Speaking of adapting, how about David's Bridal? They're transforming from just selling dresses into a full-blown bridal media company. From white dresses to the World Wide Web, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's super cool how they're crafting their own fairy tale. But it makes you think, right? How are all these different strategies playing out? Ross and Wendy's are expanding like there's no tomorrow, while David's Bridal's morphing into something completely different.
Exactly, Max. It shows there's no one-size-fits-all strategy in retail. Every brand's got to find its own path. Whether it's flipping burgers or selling bridal gowns, it's all about connecting with consumers in new and exciting ways.
Couldn't agree more, Rachel. It's like each of these companies is playing a different game on the same playground.
Spot on, Max. And whatever game they're playing, it'll be interesting to see who climbs to the top of the retail jungle gym.
Definitely, and I'll be here for it. Popcorn in hand. Hey, Rachel, have you ever tried setting up Google Ads? It feels kind of like being a wizard, but instead of a magic wand, you're waving around keywords and budgets.
Oh, Max, you and your analogies. I mean, it's pretty spot on. And now it's getting even more like magic with these new AI tools. Like, have you heard about creating Google Ads scripts via Gen AI?
Right? It's super cool. Basically, Gen AI can automate a lot of the tedious parts of ad campaigns. It's a total game changer for anyone trying to manage large campaigns without hiring a fleet of wizards or marketers.
Exactly. And speaking of wizards, let's not forget about the magic happening on social media. It's not just about following algorithms anymore. There's more creativity in engaging with your audience beyond just playing the algorithm game.
Yep, and that's crucial, especially with something like St. Patrick's Day coming up. You're not just throwing green hats and leprechauns at your followers, right? It's about crafting that personal connection, making your brand part of their celebration in a genuine way.
Oh, definitely. And speaking of personal, AI is personalizing how we handle all the back-end stuff too. Like with PPC reporting, now AI can predict trends, automate reports, even suggest optimizations. Makes you wonder, what can't AI do?
Seriously, Rachel, soon AI is going to be hosting podcasts. But until then, it's fascinating how it's reshaping our work. Take KPIs, for instance. It's no longer just about hitting numbers, but understanding how those numbers tie back to real business outcomes.
That's such a good point. It's about the why behind the what, right? I'm still a bit skeptical, though. I mean, can AI really grasp nuances of different businesses, or is it one size fits all?
Good question. I think it's getting there. Like Google's new AI shopping tools, they're turning vague ideas into tangible products. Imagine saying, I want something that feels like a cozy evening, and bam, you get product recommendations that match that vibe.
Wait, seriously? That's almost like having a mind reader for your shopping needs. But back to business. For e-commerce owners gearing up for St. Patrick's Day, this could mean leveraging AI to forecast which products might be hits based on trending sentiments or past sales.
Exactly. It's like having your own crystal ball, or should I say, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
That's one way to put it, but really it shows how dynamic and adaptive our tools are becoming in reaching customers in meaningful, impactful ways.
Totally. And it's going to be interesting to see how these advancements keep changing our strategies. The future of marketing, always keeping us on our toes.
Always. And hey, who knows? Maybe next year's St. Patrick's Day campaigns will be run by AI-driven leprechauns.
That'd be something. Honestly, the possibilities are as vast as the internet itself. All right, Rachel. So, kicking things off, did you hear about the little hiccup Etsy had on Monday morning?
Oh, you mean when they briefly blocked sellers from signing in? Yeah, I caught wind of that. Imagine the stress for those small business owners.
Definitely. It's like 1 minute you're ready to take on the world, and the next, you can't even log in. But hey, speaking of online marketplaces, that actually leads us into comparing Etsy and eBay. Have you ever thought about how different they are for sellers?
Actually, yes, that's such a good point. From what I know, Etsy is like that cozy artisan coffee shop where everyone knows your name, and eBay is more like a bustling city market. Anything and everything goes.
Exactly, Rachel. And for those trying to choose where to set up shop online, you've got to consider what you're selling, right? Etsy's super cool for handmade or vintage items, while eBay's kind of the old reliable for a wider range of products.
I'm not entirely convinced Etsy is always the chill cafe, though. Remember those seller strikes last year over fee increases? Shows it's not just about the platform, but how they treat their community, too.
Good point. And shifting gears slightly to another giant, Amazon. They're rolling out something called Alexa Plus, with features that are supposed to be a game changer for e-commerce. It's like your digital assistant just got a master's degree in shopping.
Wait, seriously? That sounds both amazing and slightly terrifying.
Right? Imagine Alexa just casually suggesting what stock to buy or what's trending.
That's actually wild. But that makes me wonder about how other platforms keep up, like Facebook Marketplace. They've really been drawing in the younger crowd lately.
Oh yeah, they're slaying it by mixing social media vibes with shopping. Honestly, it's smart. You're already there checking out memes. Why not buy a lamp from someone nearby?
True. Speaking of buying, did you see what's happening with e-commerce stocks? MarketBeat highlighted a few to keep an eye on today.
I did see that. Always got to keep an eye on those trends. Actually, that reminds me, with St. Patrick's Day coming up, it's a huge moment for any e-commerce business.
Oh, totally. It's all about those green hats, funny glasses, and themed products. Makes you wonder how many green socks you can sell in a week, huh?
You'd be surprised. But really, it's a reminder for any online seller to get in on holiday action early. Stock up and promote.
Exactly, Max. Whether you're on Etsy, eBay, or any other platform, understanding these bits can really make or break your holiday sales.
Totally. Keeping an eye on trends, platform updates, and yes, even those unexpected outages can help keep you one step ahead.
Just part of the adventure of online selling, right?
You got it, Rachel. Hey, Rachel, quick question before we dive in. Do you think it'd be cool if we could buy things online and have them delivered with zero waste? Like, imagine drones dropping off your latest sneaker obsession wrapped in, I don't know, recycled rainbows or something.
Max, as fun as recycled rainbows sound, I think you're onto something. It ties perfectly with the whole sustainable fulfillment trend. Companies are really stepping up their game in eco-friendly e-commerce practices. It's not just about reducing waste, it's about innovating the way we think about delivery and packaging.
Right? And speaking of innovations, there are these exploding topics in e-commerce for the next couple of years. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff that's becoming mainstream. Virtual try-on technology is a total game changer.
Oh, I just have to jump in here. Virtual try-on is super fascinating. It's like, hey, let's shop for clothes without worrying about the fit. Honestly, it's magic. But I'm not entirely convinced everyone's ready to let go of the good old mall trials. What about you?
I see your point. But think about how much time you save. Plus, it's another win for the environment because fewer returns mean less transportation. That's fewer carbon footprints, Rachel. The planet, it thanks us.
Absolutely, that's such a good point. Max, have you heard about that e-commerce connection to those garage burglaries in Wilmette? It turns out online shopping receipts helped catch the bad guys.
Wait, seriously? That's like you order a pizza and end up solving a crime with the box it came in. Who knew your shopping habits could enforce justice?
Exactly. It's surprising the roles e-commerce plays beyond just buying and selling. Speaking of roles, did you know that international companies in the e-commerce space are seeing gains while some tech giants are experiencing a dip?
You mean there's a shift happening right now in the global marketplace?
Totally. It appears that being adaptable and culturally aware is proving to be beneficial for these companies. They're tapping into new markets and broadening their horizons.
Shake things up globally. Got it. Now, Rachel, with St. Patrick's Day around the corner, how do you think e-commerce owners should gear up for this festive season? Any Clover-filled tricks up your sleeve?
Well, it's all about themed marketing, isn't it? Imagine limited time offers wrapped in green or exclusive St. Patrick's Day merchandise. It's about creating that buzz, engaging customers with super cool promos. Speaking of promos, did you hear about Advantive scooping up commerce vision? They're really broadening their e-commerce arsenal.
Talk about making strategic moves. By expanding their offerings, they can cater to a wider audience and maybe even roll out some fresh, innovative services. I mean, who doesn't want to be the one-stop shop for all e-commerce needs?
Exactly. The landscape of digital commerce is constantly evolving, and staying ahead means being quick to adapt and innovate. It's like e-commerce companies are in a relay race, passing the baton of innovation without dropping it.
And wouldn't dropping that baton just be a meme-worthy moment? But for now, keeping it in hand means staying tuned to the latest and greatest trends shaping the future, right?
Absolutely. And for our listeners sticking with us, catching on to these trends could give you a front row seat to some of the most exciting changes in digital commerce.
Couldn't agree more. Let's keep watching and maybe even lead some of those changes ourselves. And just like that, we're wrapping up another fantastic episode of The Checkout Point. Thanks for hanging out with us today, and wow, can you believe it's already week 11 of our e-commerce journey this year?
Time flies when you're diving into the latest and greatest in online shopping, right? I must say, today's segment on high-quality product photography really opened my eyes. Those tips could really transform an online store, especially with St. Patrick's Day sales just around the corner.
Speaking of St. Patrick's Day, I can't wait to see how all these strategies we discussed will play out. And hey, if you're gearing up for the holiday, remember what we talked about today. It could be your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Definitely, Max. And your jokes might just be the leprechauns along the way, always surprising us when least expected. For me, learning about Amazon's magic wand was something. Who knows what they'll come up with next?
Right? You've got to love those tech surprises. But hey, if you enjoyed today's show and, yes, even my terrible jokes, we'd love it if you joined us again next week. We'll have more e-commerce news, probably more of my jokes, and tons more insights.
Don't forget to check out blicket.co for other cool resources to keep you ahead in the e-commerce game. It's all about staying informed and connected, folks.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep your carts full and your returns low. We'll catch you next week for more adventures in e-commerce.
Take care, everyone. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and let's keep making those digital connections that drive us forward. See you soon.
Bye, everybody. Watch out for those leprechauns.
Bye, everyone.